Hello, everyone. This is Hussein Hashim from WhatsApp Media Network. We are live today in this special show and special episode of Ask the Expert. We're going to be hosting Dr. Maleyko, Superintendent of Dearborn Public Schools, Maysam Ali, Executive Director of Staff and Student Services, and Mike Esseily, Executive Director of Special Education from Dearborn Public Schools. We're going to be talking about school closure and how did it impact Dearborn Public School in general. We're going to be talking about the recent executive order by Governor Whitmer to shut down schools until the end of the year. We're going to be covering graduation. We're going to be covering how they're doing remote learning, food distribution, Chromebook distribution, the requirements for students and teachers, all of the informations and all of the questions that parents has about how things are going to be done, how their students are going to be able to graduate if they have seniors in high school. How are they going to continue to do remote learning? All of those questions. Any questions that you have, please feel free to write it in the comment section on WhatsApp Media Network or on any page that's airing the show with us today. Feel free to write your comments, your questions. We're going to be taking as many questions as possible. Also, feel free to share this live stream because it's very important for people to get the information from the source. And I'm glad and I'm honored to be joined by my guest today. So I'm going to introduce my guest and have them introduce themselves. Please, 20 seconds for each one of you guys, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself for our audience. Dr. Maleyko, we'll start with you.
Okay, good evening. Thank you for having us on the show, Hussein. I'm Glenn Maleyko, Superintendent for Dearborn Public Schools, and wishing everyone all the best for safe and healthy days ahead.
Maysam.
Good evening, and thank you for having me and our team. Maysam Alie-Bazzi. I'm the Executive Director of Staff and Student Services for Dearborn Public Schools. That means Human Resources and Student Services. Thank you.
Thank you, Maysam. Mike? Mike is still with us?
Yeah, difficulties there for a second. I apologize. I'm Mike Esseily. I'm the Executive Director of Special Populations for the Dearborn District. I oversee the special education department. I work with the English learner department and adult education as well.
Very good, very good. Thank you guys for joining me on Friday at night. I know you guys have been very busy with, especially the executive order just was released yesterday. Dr. Maleyko, if you can take us through the timeline of events. I know these things and events started escalating very quickly. So if you can take us from where you guys decided to close Whitmer and until now, if you don't mind.
Sure. So the first thing I want to say is that we have a crisis team that meets on a regular basis. So we have a team that meets for all sorts of situations, whether it be weather hazard or other situations that might be in the school, danger to students. And so what we've done is, this started back in early February. We put our crisis team into action, kind of focusing more on the COVID-19 crisis. At that time, we were not aware it was going to be to the extent it is today, unfortunately, what we're dealing with today, which we all see the news. And my thoughts and prayers first go out to all those who may be dealing with it directly, those who have lost loved ones, and then those who may be dealing with it indirectly. So where it really hit our school, and we were starting our prevention methods and trying to educate the public. And I remember the last board meeting in March, it was March 9th, and we were still kind of going through our normal routine, but we were planning for taking some preventative measures in the school district with the extra hand washing, cleaning, disinfecting, those things. 2 days later, unbeknownst to or unpredictable, I get a call that we had a potential exposure of a staff member who was related to somebody that had tested positive.
Okay.
So during that day was a very intensive day. That was on a Wednesday. It would have been the 11th, I believe, of March. Very intensive day for all of us. This was kind of the first case in the school related to a public school in Michigan. Yes. I believe there may have been one going on in Oakland County at the same time. I was on the phone multiple times, all the way up to the governor's office, to the state superintendent's office, Wayne County Health. I was on the phone with our president, Barry, who was very supportive of positive, and want to say I appreciate his leadership during those tough times. It was very intensive days for us, along with the entire board. So that day was very intensive for me and my team. Constant conversations, constant phone calls. We tried to make a decision as to what we needed to do. we needed the health experts to give us recommendation because of the unknown condition. I'm not a health expert. I was on the phone call with Wayne County health directors all the way up to the top heads at the Wayne County Health, and they were very supportive. I got to say, I appreciate the work they did. They were kind of putting the ball in my hands, though, as far as there was no set closure recommendation or needed, because we didn't know that the staff member, whether the staff member was going to be tested positive, the staff member was taking a test to see. So out of abundance of caution, I made the decision to close the school proactively prior to any requirement by the county or state. I said, look, we're going to protect our students. I also said, hey, I'm a parent as well. I have 2 children. And as a parent, I'd want to know. And so we put our plan into action that very same day. We had a parent meeting immediately in the afternoon. It was that same day that we were notified. We had a parent meeting, then we notified the parents. We had a letter. I went over to the school. I met with the staff first, and our team, and our entire team came together. The board president was with us. Our board of education was there, and then we, and you may recall, then we had a press conference that evening. At that time, we didn't know it was going to be so widespread, which is what's going on now in Michigan. So those few intensive days were very intensive. The very next day, which was the Thursday, only Whitmore Bowles was closed out of the abundance of caution that we took. Then there was conversations going on about potential closures with my team and I for the whole district. That was ongoing. In fact, that night, Miss Alie-Bazzi might recall, we had multiple phone conferences going on into the evening of Thursday, the 12th of March. I was in constant communication with Board President Barry, and other board members were in contact with me, and I was back and forth into the evening. We were starting to give consideration to what we needed to do moving forward. Again, potential for closures. But at that time, we then got word through our organizations and some of my state level connections that the governor was likely going to close the state for a specified time. So we did get that announcement. I think it came at around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock that night. So we were under the order of closing schools indefinitely. I guess it was up to, she gave it up until April 6th, and then we had our spring break planned anyway. And so that very next day we closed it to students. We did allow students on Friday 13th to come in and get their lockers. We allowed staff to work a half a day, and then staff generally went home. And then we picked it up on Monday and Tuesday, where we allowed teaching staff to come in and collect their materials. We had some of our custodians and our maintenance staff in the rest of that week, disinfecting and cleaning the buildings. But essentially, we started looking at closure. And that week, I was working all week physically in the building, and so was our team. But we started planning for the social distancing, which we heard of the spread. So we did make the decision that week. The following week, even though the schools were closed, our central office was still operating. Yes. We made the decision the following Monday in consultation with the board president, Barry, and the board to close central office and essentially close the district to anyone but essential workers. And I think it was the right decision. Having said that, we kept preparing for online learning and other things. So what I can tell you is there's been a lot of preparation going on there. And we've had a very stable platform of Google Hangouts since most of us are doing our part. And I appreciate you coming in from home, because I think we're being role models here. Is look, we're not going to just come to the district or in the studio when that's going to hurt the overall condition of health of the healthcare workers. And I want to give, a shout out to all our first responders and healthcare workers. So, that are dealing with this right up front and personal. And so we need to do our part. And that's what we're all doing.
Very good.
Is we are limiting into the building. And so that's kind of where we are. Then the shelter in place came anyway. And so it was a good decision that we made, because that very same day that we closed the district, the governor ordered the shelter in place order.
Dr. Maleyko, I mean, as you mentioned, the decision came a bit, after you guys closed Whitmore Bowles. The decision from the governor for the stay-at-home order came as a surprise to many. How prepared and how quickly did the district act to continue before no one recently that you're not going to be able to open again for the rest of the year? And we're going to clarify what does that mean. But how quickly did the district respond, and how did the district respond to the first stay-at-home order that said schools are going to close until April 13th?
So we were well prepared by that time. I can't tell you it was perfect. Prior to her closing the schools, we had thought we may have had a little more time. We had some meetings that week, and we were planning for professional development. We had floated around ideas of closing the district for a week or 2 weeks with my team, even if she didn't, to do online learning and professional development with teachers. So prior to that, we weren't sure. But once we got the stay-at-home order, we were well prepared for that because we have our Google Hangouts set up with our staff. We had a staff network. And we also started professional development for technology and online learning. You might recall that we were proactive before the stay-at-home order, that we actually started that week. We started distributing Chromebooks on the Tuesday of that very same week, a week prior to the governor's order. We've given out, I believe, between 3,000 to 4,000 Chromebooks to our students. And we immediately started with the food distribution model on that very same Tuesday. And that was almost a week before the governor's order. So we had things in place and we were ready to move. We were planning for short-term issues and long-term issues. So I got to give credit to, the entire staff. I want to say, we've seen great things going on from the teachers all over. They're knocking it out of the park. Is it totally consistent? Is it totally perfect? No. But Dearborn Public Schools is far ahead because of the work of our great staff and our teachers, the food service workers, the volunteers, all those individuals, our team who's been working tirelessly to make sure that we're providing support to our community. And the community has come together. And so we were ready. We that weekend, you may recall, Mr. Hachem, Hussein, that I shot out several blog posts. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to have a mental health hotline that Mr. Esseily is going to talk about. We're doing food distribution. They put that together quickly and ready to roll for the benefit of the students and the families. And I got to give credit to the PTA and the volunteers. They stepped up. I think we had 100 volunteers ready to help us, plus different organizations. So was anyone well prepared for this? No one could have predicted this. But given what we were dealing with and given the fact that we had this situation, I got to say that our team really stepped up, and I'm proud to be the superintendent of our great district.
For sure, we're gonna continue with the conversation, Dr. Maleyko, and we're gonna go deeper into the plan that the district is doing and basically develop to deal with this pandemic that we got hit with it. However, I want to mention that anyone that's watching the show on WhatsApp Media Network or on any other page that's streaming the show with us, you can ask your question to our guests. You can write your question in the comment area. We've seen some questions here and some comments already that we're going to be displaying some of them on the screen for our guests to answer. So please go ahead and write your comments, and don't forget to share this live stream so parents, Dearborn Public School parents, can listen to and can watch and listen to this very important live stream about Dearborn Public School and their plan for the coming months in terms of graduation, in terms of remote learning and everything that's related to student services. So let me start talking about the things that happened first, which is the food distribution. I know you guys, there were a concern out there in the community that students who benefit from free or reduced meals because of school closures, they weren't going to be able to get them, but you guys acted very quickly. So tell me about that program. How many meals, if you have the numbers, how many meals did you guys distribute? And I've heard that you guys doubled those distribution lately. So bring us up to speed. Whoever want to mention, and please, sure. Mike and Maysam, feel free to jump into the conversation anytime that you need to.
Yeah, I don't want to take the whole thing because they know I can keep going on and on, but I'll just give you some numbers because I'm aware of them. We started with, I think the first day was 2,000 to 3,000. That jumped up to 5,000. By the end of the week, I think it was close to about 6,000. The following week, we're now up to about 8,000 meals a day. We're going to be given double that though now because we limited the days. We were doing a Monday to Friday, and now we're doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I do want to mention that next week, because there is a holiday where the district totally shut down on the Friday, we're going to be modifying that schedule. We sent out a robocall. So just for next week, it'll be Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at the 7 different sites that we're using, which are, and you guys can help me with this. We have Smith Middle School, Woodworth, the 3 high schools, Fordson, Dearborn High, McCullough Eunice, Salina Intermediate, and Etzel Ford are the locations for the food distribution.
I think Woodworth as well.
And Woodworth, yes, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Okay, perfect. So those are the, anyone that needs, is it for only Dearborn Public School students? And how are you guys making sure, they're getting the food that they need? Is there any process?
So by law, Yeah, it does not have to just be Dearborn School students, but it's for anybody under the age of 18 per state law.
Yeah.
So if there was a student, for example, that lived in the area but was not attending a school district, we can legally provide, and we're obligated to.
Okay.
But again, it's for any students, and families can come in and parents and get for more than one child, but they can only get the meals for their children that are under 18. And again, part of the Dearborn schools, it's fine because you may have other, technically they can go to any site in the state. There's other districts providing these sites as well, and they're allowed to go to any of those sites by law.
In the beginning, you guys, I believe you required the parents to bring their kids with them to receive the meals. I think now it's not the case, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think we ever had that as a requirement. No, I don't think that was a requirement. I think it was, we're somewhat on an honor system, but they may be asking questions, but we were giving out the meals. When I went the first day, I didn't really see a lot of children per se. There may have been, but maybe that was just something out there in the public, but we were not requiring that.
Hussein, I'd like to just add that some of the questions I received was about how we are funding the food program. I think it's really important to note that this is a the governor's order is for remote learning includes the requirement of providing food service for districts that are eligible. And I think it's really important to note that the budget that's used for food service does not impact our per pupil funding whatsoever, or a general fund. That is a completely separate fund that is provided by the state and the government.
Okay, very good. I mean, great clarification. Anything you guys want to add in regards to the food distribution?
Just a really great.
Yeah, can I add too? That's a good point.
Go ahead. And then Maysam, if you have something.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Okay, just a great big thank you to our food service workers. Our PTA volunteers have really taken this and been present at all the sites and really been helping out. We're thankful for our custodians that are working at those sites as well, and our engineers that are working at those sites. Our non-instructional staff has been essential, and we're very thankful for that.
Dr. Maleyko.
Thank you. And I just will echo those remarks. I appreciate that. So when one of us is talking, we're speaking for all of us, and I thank the great team we have. I would also just say that we got on that several weeks ago, but now the governor's order yesterday, it's actually a requirement to get your state aid funding. Mm-hmm. So any now must provide it. Thankfully, we started doing that prior to even knowing it was going to be a requirement.
Very good. How about the Chromebook distribution? I know you mentioned, Dr. Maleyko, that you guys gave out about 3,000 Chromebooks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. So we gave out the 3,000 over, I think it was about a week period, and we did 2 different days where they could have attended a school. We know that some may not have received them, and so they were able to contact the principal. But once the governor's stay-at-home order came in, we were not allowed to distribute them. But now under this new order, we will be allowed to do a 3rd wave of distributions, which we'll have to plan for. We are, just because we want to do our part health-wise in the community, that'll probably be a few weeks off because we just are trying to prevent a lot of people from coming in the buildings right now.
Okay, so there's gonna be a distribution soon. That's the message we want to get out, right?
Yeah, there'll be a 3rd wave because I think we got, I believe that most who needed it came in, but we were only allowing 1 per family at that time. So we're going to have to look at that and see if we offer more. We have a good arsenal that we can provide. And again, we're giving them out as kind of on a loan basis. So people are signing contracts that it's not just to keep per se, and we can't because it is federal dollars, but we're asking them to, keep track of it. We're not worried about that as much as just getting them into the hands of students.
So it's on a loan basis. They have to return it to the schools, each one based on where they received it from.
Correct.
And if there is any Dearborn Public School student out there that's watching this show now and they need a Chromebook, how can they get it? Do they reach out to their principal? Who do they reach out to?
Yeah, it's the billing base. So right now they'll reach out to the principal. The principal will put them on a list, but unfortunately it's going to be a few weeks before we're able to do that 3rd wave. And again, we're doing that not because we couldn't, but we feel it's not the right thing to do given the current stay at home, trying to help out the community by trying to avoid getting as many people as possible into the schools. But the governor does have that as an exempt provision under the new order yesterday. So we will be allowed to do some of that where we can allow staff to come into the buildings. We are going to be very cautious of that. We're not just saying, okay, go ahead. So I haven't authorized staff other than engineers and custodians and food service workers at the sites. At this point in time, we haven't authorized anyone because, again, we want to do our part to help the slow of the spread of this horrible virus.
Very good.
But it will come at some point. I don't have a specific date yet.
Okay, let me move to one of the most important points, which is remote learning. I know Governor order yesterday, and the Michigan Department of Education has asked districts to develop individual plans to continue remote learning, and it gave the freedom to some extent to district to choose how they want to do it. If you guys can tell me more about those plans, how is Dearborn Public Schools planning to do remote learning? Is it going to be required? It's not. So I'm going to take some huge chunk of time to talk about remote learning, if you guys would allow me. So let's start talking about remote learning right now.
So I'll give you some general comments, and then I'll let Mike and or Maysam, speak to that as well from their perspective. Again, we have special ed here too. So generally, there were some notifications that came out a few weeks ago from the Michigan Department, and we put out a response about, it won't count or anything like that. Under the new governor's order, the school district has the ability to make that decision that yes, it will count, as long as we get the plan approved by the county. Right. So we are now in the process of where, because of the governor's order as of yesterday, it does give the school district the authority to count things and to require certain things. We cannot discriminate or base it, we have to provide equal access to all. Okay. And I know Mr. Esseily is going to speak to that, so I won't get into that in depth. We have to provide equal access. We cannot harm students because of the COVID-19. But I was on I had a conference call with my student advisory through Google Hangouts at 11 o'clock this morning, or 11:30, and they were asking me that same question. And I said, you guys need to get ready for the fact that, yes, we are going to have some requirements. So those students I'm hearing of just saying, hey, we don't have to do this or we don't have to do that, that is not going to be the case now with the new governor's order. Now, it may have been under the previous law, but under the new order, we have the ability, and again, it's not definite yet because I have to get the plan approved by the Wayne County RESA State ISD superintendent, but we're currently working on that. We're getting input we can't just decide today because it's input from teachers and staff. So we have to put together some committees, but those committees are going to work fast, and those committees have already been kind of working. And so just to kind of get a note out there to students and parents, those that have not been doing anything and just think, oh, I'm just going to graduate or just go on. That is not necessarily the case. So I think that is an important thing for people to be aware that we do not plan to take that position. Now, exactly what is that going to be? How are we going to grade? How we're going to credit people? We're working on that. We're working on it. And there's going to be more public announcements on that coming out in the next days, if not weeks.
Based on the plan you guys submitted to Wayne RESA, and I know it needs to be approved, but you guys are the leaders of education in the Southwest and in Michigan. Everyone follows Dearborn Public Schools lead when it comes to planning and when it comes to education. So I'm sure this plan will get approved. The plan that you guys submitted to Wayne RESA, what does it include? Just very bold points, if you guys don't mind sharing.
So I can't comment on it right now because it's still in development, and we haven't submitted it yet. We're not allowed to submit it until next Thursday. That's the first day you can submit the plan. And you have until April 28th to submit it. We will do it sooner than that. So I'm not ready necessarily to comment on specifics, but I don't know if Mike or, I know there were some, we have Ms. Peterson, Mr. Esseily has been working on some of that. Obviously some of the things we've been doing on Learn. I don't know if you want to comment on some of that. Yeah. He's been more closely on the plan directly, as I've been extremely, we say working from home, Hussein, I'll tell you, my meeting, I started at 8:30 today, and look at, we're at 8 o'clock. They just keep going and going. The meetings haven't stopped. We're actually trying to keep the normalcy, but anyway, I'll let Mike speak to that.
Yeah. So actually, with kind of some of the systems and the things we had in place, just being more proactive within our district, I think it really worked to our benefit and our advantage with this plan, because I think we were a little bit ahead of, the game with some specific situations. Now, that being said, we're still developing it. We're still working on some things, the fine details of the specific plan, including the grading and how the accountability piece is going to work. And, I know a lot of parents and the community was wondering, well, why didn't we just go out and make everything count or be graded for everything the first 3 weeks of the shutdown? Yeah. Well, it's not as, I don't think it's as easy or as simple as that, because there are sometimes equity issues. And with special education, that's one of the things that we have to ensure, that we're leveling the playing field for every student. We're mandated under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, where we have to provide a free and appropriate public education for every single student. So I know my team and I have been working very, very hard to see, one, what does the platform look like for our students with disabilities, and how can we ensure that we continue to provide services remotely? Some of our students, especially with the more severe disabilities, it becomes pretty complex, that they need the support of possibly a paraprofessional or the hand-over-hand instruction that we're providing them. But I can tell you this, I have an amazing team. Obviously, we have an amazing district leadership team led by Dr. Maleyko, but I also have an amazing team with me in special education, where we've been putting in a lot of hours to develop I think what I feel right now is a pretty solid plan moving forward, to ensure that hopefully we can meet the needs of every single student. Now, is it going to be possible to kind of do exactly what you do with the face-to-face instruction on a day-to-day basis? No, and I don't think anything is ever going to replace that. But, given the circumstances, I think we have to develop something, and we have to continue to move forward. And we're going to do whatever it takes with some of our students. And another thing I did want to comment is just how awesome our staff has been, throughout the entire district. But specifically, I do want to give a shout out to our special education staff, because they've shown a lot of compassion to the community and to their students during this time, where they're reaching out. They're making phone calls to every student that they work with. They're making sure that their families have everything they need to support. We have some of them delivering, Chromebooks and technologies to their homes when we were able to do some of those things. So we were very, very fortunate just to have a total team effort, which is really, really what is kind of, allowing us to move forward with some of these plans.
Mike, I know as a special ed, there's some special challenges that comes with it. What are some of the challenges that you guys are facing, and how were you able to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, well, some of our students, again, they have those very significant disabilities. By the way, I did want to start out by saying it is Autism Awareness Month, which is why I'm wearing my blue tie today. So I did want to mention that, and it's a great cause and a great thing to be aware of. But, those are just some of the challenges. Some of the things that our teachers do within a classroom are very hard to replicate remotely or from a distance. Whether it's the hand-over-hand instruction, or whether it's just a social interaction with some other students. So those are some specific things that we're really, really looking at right now to see. We also have some students who have physical disabilities and have goals based on some of their physical disabilities. So how do you replicate that into the home? So it's really making us to think outside of the box with some of our therapy plans, and how can we adapt them within the home. And then we have to ensure that, within the home, there's an environment that can support that. So there's many, many different things we're kind of looking at right now. But I can tell you this, we're going to do whatever it takes to support our families and our students.
Maysam, I want you to comment on the part when it comes to the staff and the student services, which is your area. How you guys are communicating with your staff. I know you guys used to do continuous professional development in directions. Tell me more about how is it working with remote learning for the staff.
So the human resources staff and also the student services staff has really been working to establish processes that are all online. And fortunately, we've made great strides over the last couple of weeks. Most of our processes we are able to do via email and via different programs that we use within human resources. I think it's important to note the piece of the remote learning plan that we're working on right now. Our executive directors of student achievement and Mike Esseily are working on. I think it's important to note that teachers are going to be an essential piece of their feedback in that plan, which is one of the requirements, that teachers are included and their feedback is considered. I just also, Hussein, want to highlight that we're well aware that not every home is set up to provide everything a student needs to flourish in a remote learning environment. and that we are looking at every aspect possible to provide additional assistance wherever we're able to. Mental health is something that many people have brought up and made, commented on as a concern. And Mike Esseily and the special ed staff has also been working very hard to ensure that we're meeting the needs of our mental health services, as we were already expanding that prior to this experience. Within human resources, I think it's important to note that, ironically, we were just beginning to roll out on April 1st. We were scheduled to roll out employee assistance plan, because our employees are under the same stress and pressure as many people throughout the community. And this program is a more cohesive plan of support for our employees as well, because if our employees are supported, then they're able to better support their students and their own families as well. It's a whole new time that mothers and fathers and grandparents are adjusting to, and that we are well in tune with what families are facing at this time.
Nice.
I want to add one more note, please, Hussein, is that at the end of the day, although that we are talking about remote learning, and that is our priority, to continue ensuring that students understand that learning is for their investment in their future, whether it's completely graded in a traditional manner or whether it's graded in a alternative manner, given the circumstances, is that relationships with one another is really what carries people. And without our basic human needs met, limited learning will happen. And so that means recess and getting the kids outside for fresh air and having breakfast and slowing down. And even if you're not able to provide your children with instruction all day long, that you have a meaningful conversation with them, and you take a walk and you look at the pretty things that are around in the neighborhood. And that's what's going to keep learning going, even if it's not going to be 100% in the traditional manner.
As it stands right now, what is Dearborn Public Schools doing in terms of homework, in terms of enrichment, in terms of work that's been sent to the students as it stands right now?
Would you like? Go ahead, Mike.
So I can comment a little. As it stands right now, we're still under the enrichment order until the application gets
Glenn, if you can repeat. We still can hear you, Glenn.
Okay, so as it stands right now, are you okay you can hear me clear? Okay. Am I getting delayed or anything on the sound or no? Okay, so until right now, until we get our plan approved officially, it's all considered enrichment. But here's the thing, we can actually go back and consider some of the work that's already been done when we submit our plan to the county, which we have a great relationship with the county. I met with the county superintendent this morning virtually, and I know exactly what needs to be done in that plan. Yeah. So I got to tell you, the teachers are just knocking it out of the park in a positive way right now. We're seeing they are stepping up for students. Some may, their creativity is coming out, but all I am getting is positive emails about the teachers. Now, again, is it consistent? No, we have 1,500 teachers. We have multiple levels. It's not going to be exact. It's a new world out there. We didn't realize that we were ever going to need to be in this world. Having said that, our teachers are knocking it out of the park. They are just stepping it up. I'm seeing great stories, great videos, great live lessons. They're using the blog. 5 years ago, I did mandate the blog in my plan when I was first hired as superintendent. Look at the need that we have just for a basic communication. So our teachers in our district are far ahead. Is it perfect? No, but we do have innovative teachers. I was asked to sit on a committee with Dr. Rice at the state because of our online learning. And we also have a new teacher, Miss Amy Gwiz, who will also be on a state level committee with Michigan Virtual University, because they want to see the things that we're doing and provide recommendations. In fact, she's going to be published soon. And so, but what is going on right now is a lot of good things. I think the challenges we have is what both Mr. Esseily and Miss Alie-Bazzi were referring to. You get equity and equal access to all. So that is a concern of all of ours. And so within the plan we submit, we're going to have different options that we'll look at. We hope to get internet access for everyone. But I got to tell you, when I did get quotes from these service providers, the fees were astronomical as to what they were asking for the community. And so at some point, the state or someone's going to have to step in if we truly do want online access for all, because individual school districts do not have the funding to support that. But we can do other things. And we could try to give what's going on right now. Some of them are giving 30, 60-day free internet access. And we can use some of our other federal funding to purchase Chromebooks. We don't necessarily need to do that now because we have a pretty good arsenal of what we have to deploy. I believe 18,000 computers that we have in the district. So it's close to one-to-one already. And so we have mandated that iLearn, a Moodle software, will be our official course software. Again, it's kind of like the 5 years ago thing with the blog. We decided that we need to move on that. And so we have a platform we're going to use consistent. I saw some questions on the platform.
Yeah,
we're going to use our use our platform because we have security within that. And we know that we have safety. Because here's the other issue for the community and for everyone. Remember, with internet and online tools, there's also safety issues. And so we are much more secure with our own network and our own tools than going with the next greatest thing that might be on the market. And so we're going to limit the type of tools we use by still allowing creativity for students and teachers. Because I am getting, what about this tool? What about that tool? What about this? Well, there's a lot of tools out there, but we have to have some consistency in the district, and we've made those decisions.
Good. I want to take some questions related to the sections we are talking about, because we're receiving so many questions. We have so many comments on Facebook. Thank you for everyone that's watching on WhatsApp Media Network. If you joined us now, even if you missed some of the conversation, you'll be able to watch the entire interview on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page, and on our website. Just type in WhatsApp Media Network. If you have any question to our guest or any comment that you would like to basically talk about, please write it in the comment area below this video, and I'll do my best to basically ask those questions. There's a question related to the assignment. I know, Dr. Maleyko, you mentioned that whatever happened before the order that was issued yesterday was an enrichment, but based on the plan that you guys submitted that you guys gonna submit to WinRisa, if it gets approved, this is gonna be graded. So we have a question from Rabab. She's asking, and I'm gonna put the question on the screen so you guys can see it too. What about the assignment that they have been given the past 2 weeks? Are students still responsible for doing them since they've been told they will not be going to be graded? If you guys can comment on this.
Well, I'll make a comment on that, and I'll let them join in. Here's the thing. I put out a statement, and you may have seen about a week and a half ago about, yes, all learning counts. So the question shouldn't be whether or not it's going to be graded. It's going to be what's good for our students. And so if I was given an assignment for our students, I would say, yes, we should be doing those assignments because it's going to help the student. We don't want students to come, when they come back at some point, depending on what grade they're in, they're going to be behind if they're not doing the material. Now we're going to be requiring some things moving forward. So I would say whatever the teacher is assigning, that students should do it, because, as a parent, there's a bigger picture at play than whether or not it's just graded. There's a picture of whether or not students are learning and what are they doing. And I know it's more difficult when it's from home, but I know for my own 2 children, I'm making sure that my son and my daughter are doing the work that they need to do. I'm getting a little more now from their teachers as well, but we're going to do it because it's good for students. And so technically, would it have been graded prior? No, technically no. But you know what, if you're just going to not do some of the work and you're going to say it's a break, I would say if any of the teachers gave those assignments, guess what? It's going to prepare you, because now you might be behind on the new work that we're going to be assigning, which is going to come. So if you just blow it off and don't do it, or someone decides, I don't want to do it because of the grade, I think it's going to hurt their grade long term, because now they're going to be behind the other students that were already doing those assignments and practicing.
So based on the new plan, you guys will be sending homework, and that homework will be graded?
Yeah, so I think, Hassan, we're still working out on the fine details of that plan and how the accountability piece is going to look like. Like I mentioned, there's so many other aspects to look at, before you can, just roll something out. I've heard, I think we've done overall a great job within our district, kind of taking some of the guidance that we've had and just rolling it out and trying to make sense of it and deliver it to the families as well. So I don't think right now we're going to necessarily comment on how it looks specifically, but what we are going to say is that whatever the system's going to be moving forward, it's going to be fair, it's going to be equitable to all. And, you know, just like Dr. Maleyko said, you know, all learning counts, whether you're getting your grade on it or not. And that's what enrichment activities are. They're to kind of keep you at pace, keep you going with where you are, and keep your mind fresh and moving and stimulated.
I want to add to that and I'm going to give it to you, Maysam, to comment on it. But like you guys mentioned, I mean, you know, when we're going to talk about graduation, we're going to talk about kids and students moving to the next grade level. But at the same time, you don't want them to fall behind. I mean, still, they're going to come back to those classrooms sooner or later, and they're going to have to be ready to basically be up to speed with everyone. Imagine having a class where, you know, 5 students are up to speed and the rest of the class didn't do their work and they're not basically up to the grade level that they are in. So that message that the parent that they should be taken from this live stream in regards to remote learning, please do the work that's been sent by the teachers. Even if it's not required to do it and not mandated yet, please go ahead and do it because it's very important. Some comment on that, and then I'm going to take some comments, and then we're going to move to graduation and moving to the next grade level.
So, Hussein, I actually wanted to talk about graduation intervention specialists have been working very closely with our executive directors of student achievement. The graduation intervention specialists have been in contact with, have a tracking sheet of any students that are not on track to graduate. They are still holding, the teachers that were teaching night school classes are still holding online night school classes because our goal is to ensure that those students do not fall any further behind and that they're still making progress via E2020, which is the, it's already an online program that typically they would do at school that they're able to work on at home, and the graduation intervention specialists are reaching out to them. And for many of those students, the reason that they are behind have to do with non-school related issues. And so the counselors and the social workers are working in tandem with the graduation intervention specialists to ensure that those students at the high school level are continuing to earn credit and are continuing their online courses at this time. It's actually an optimal time for those students to do so. I had another thought, but I'll circle back around to it in just a second.
I know you're reading the comments, and I'm going to put some of the comments there. And you mentioned a very important point, because Dearborn Public Schools is one of those unique districts where you guys do dual enrollment, so students can take some classes at the college level. And as you know, college are still running based on an online platform. So it's very important for those students to continue doing their work. Let me pull out some of the comments. Amy, big shout out to Amy. She's one of the PTA leaders in Dearborn. She's saying our district is doing a wonderful job. Our superintendent, executive board, and school board have been doing an excellent job keeping us updated. And she added that our principals and teachers are providing our children extra support. We as parents are getting the support we need as parents to help our children. Fatmi Bakri is saying thank you for all you do. Chastity Townsend, a big shout out to the Dearborn Education Foundation. I'm a board member and I'm a chairman of the scholarship committee. And I want to echo what Chastity is saying. The Dearborn Education Foundation is working on helping students with internet for students. And I want to remind students who are listening to this live stream and parents that we have our scholarship program. It's open, and we did extend the deadline until April 30th. So please go ahead to our website, to the Dearborn Education Foundation website, and apply for those scholarships. It's free money. I mean, now more than ever, you need that money. Susan is asking, is it iLearn or Google Classroom? What are you guys using?
iLearn is the district.
We're using both.
But Google Classroom is also.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we use both because they're separate tools. They're different tools. Okay.
So we're using both. Rasha is asking if they will be doing online tutoring at. She means teaching. If you guys will be doing online teaching at a specific time or at any time, and she's saying that they should consider that some parents are working 8 hours a day from home. That's Rasha's comment. I'll read some of the comments, and you guys, if you want to, basically want to comment on it, you can. Brigitte is asking about seniors. We're gonna be talking about very thoroughly about seniors and graduation in just a few moments. Rasha is saying, hi Maysam, some homework need teacher assistant and kids are not getting the support needed. If you guys want to write down, you guys want to comment on this right away, or you want to write it down and comment?
Hi Rasha, I hope you're doing well. That was the other comment that I was writing down so I don't forget,
Sure.
is that when there are specific situations, I just really, really want to encourage everyone to communicate with teachers, communicate with their principal, communicate with anyone in the district until you're able to get the answer that you need. We have a ton of resources, and sometimes I'll hear or I'll see or read blanket statements about maybe one situation or two situations, and then when I dig into it further, it's a very easy solution and we are able to support, but that we're not aware of it. And so I want to just ensure that if there's specific situations that you're struggling with as a parent, that you have questions about, or even as a student, I'm going to guess that some students are tuning in, please reach out to your teachers, reach out to your building administrator, your principal, and then there are a variety of phone numbers that you can call to receive assistance from someone at central office. But I just want to encourage the communication, because a lot of times, you know, there's one specific situation that we don't know about, and then we find out about it. But we would prefer that you ask. In the example, homework needs teacher assistance and kids are not getting, okay, so kids are not getting the support they're needed. So that would be a conversation that I would want you to have, or have the parents have with the staff in that building.
Ahmed is saying, are you guys planning to do FaceTime for a group meeting between teachers and students online?
You know, actually, some of our teachers have been implementing some of that, but those are some of the things that we're working out right now within the plan as to how the delivery is going to look, whether it's going to be, some things are going to be videotaped, because I know there was also a comment earlier that, some parents work, or there's some situations in the house to where perhaps, students can't be available at all time. So those are all specific details we're working out right now.
Very good, very good. Let me take a couple more questions and then we're going to move to graduation, if you guys don't mind. Maha is saying, and let me display Maha Mekki, shout out to Maha. She's saying, I think as a parent, I want my kids to do their work, whether graded or not, it's best for their learning. I agree with you, Maha, you're 100% right. Shannon Peterson, big shout out to Shannon for everything that you do. She's saying all learning counts. Rana is asking, how will Head Start registration take place?
So that would be
we're
go ahead, Glenn. Sorry.
Well, we actually don't head up Head Start. They just rent some of our classrooms, so that's done through Wayne County.
Very good. There's a very important question. I'm going to try to pull it out.
Now, if they're referring to GSRP, which is our preschool separate program, so that is something I believe it'll be online, and I actually just had that question today, so I'm not 100% right now, but I believe they're in the process. You going to comment on that?
Yeah, I was going to say that we're currently, because that would fall under student services, that we already have online registration as an option. Fortunately, we made that transition last year, and that's for K through, the online registrations for K through 8th grade. For our preschool programs, I don't believe that's online, but we are currently exploring how we're going to handle registrations, because typically we would have kindergarten roundup starting soon, scheduled soon. So once we have that information, we'll be communicating it.
Very good. I know this is for Mike Esseily. I believe this question will be about adult education.
So what I see it, unfortunately, with adult education, we are still waiting for guidance from the state as well to see how we can handle some of those situations, because I know this kind of happened mid-semester. But I will tell you this, another shout out to our adult education teachers. They've been trying to support some of their students as much as they can remotely as well, but hopefully we will have some communication regarding adult education really soon.
Very good. Let me continue with some of the comments and then we'll go to graduation. And I'm sure we're gonna, because Ali is asking about how can someone graduate without finishing the program. We're gonna talk about this. In addition, that's a very important comment from Alicia. She's asking, in addition to the online learning, will the students have accessibility to printed material as well? Given that some families don't have access to printers, this has been a burden having to hand copy assignment the past 2 weeks.
Actually, I appreciate that question greatly. And actually, those are conversations that I know that Dr. Maleyko with the executive team we've been having, that when we talk about remote learning, absolutely, we want to make sure that, accessibility is for all. And if that means, mailing packets home or mailing some work home. Those are some things that we're all exploring right now, hopefully to have systems set up in place for that as well.
Very good, very good. Let me start talking about the graduation, because I believe this is one of the huge questions right now, because we have so many seniors, and they look forward to graduate and to graduation ceremony.
Sure.
What's going to happen with graduation, Dr. Maleyko, this year?
So right now we do not know, and I'm just being honest 100%. We have had discussions already. I've had discussion with board members. Our discussion today, one of the main topics with my student advisory council was graduation. We want to, in some way or another, we are going to do that. I've actually put that out, that at some point we are going to recognize them. There's different ideas being floated around as to whether we could delay the ceremonies till things are safe out there. Could we limit the number coming in? We have to see what happens with the governor's order. As of right now, we cannot run the graduation ceremony the way it normally would have a forced shutdown to the end of the year per the governor's order. And again, the governor's done that for the health and safety of the greater good. And we support the governor and the work that she's doing and the tough decisions that need to be made. So it is disappointing. I get it. Graduation is my favorite time of the year, when I get to do a speech and see all the see all the success. And we have a lot of students that are getting into universities all over and successful, and our college admission rates are so high. Our graduation rate, is going up and continues to go up. And above 95%. Our dropout rate is very small, so we're proud of our students. So we want to recognize them. I know I give the students a lot of credit here. So students are getting a lot of questions, and the students on my council keep getting questions because they know, the students in the schools know that they meet with me, and they're meeting with me now virtually. So they're sharing ideas, but I'll give them a lot of credit. Some of the students like Zainab and Abe, who are always at the board meeting, they say, look, we understand there's a big picture here. We understand we're talking about the health of the community and society, and so we will make sacrifices for the greater good. So I give them a lot of credit. They do want to be recognized in some way or another. And so whether that's delaying the ceremony, that's a possibility. One of the things I said to them, and I think Abe said, and it's going to come out of the show, it's going to be like, hey, everyone is going to remember even though it's not the way we wanted, the class of 2020, everyone is going to remember this class. This class is going to go down in infamy because this will be, whatever we do, it'll be the most unique graduation we've ever had. 20 is going to be, a legend in Dearborn. And so if we take that up, and if we are able to recognize our students, whether that be virtually, whether that be, we pack in, for example, Fortson in the football field and all that. And unfortunately, we can't do that. We can't have it packed in because we're not allowed. So we might be able to do some things that we have individuals come and get recognized, or like honor night for students that meet the honor roll. We're looking at maybe possibly online, recognize them. So we will recognize them. I've also heard some comments about, like if it's into the fall. So I don't have 100% on that, other than I can say 100% we're going to recognize students. I also can say that the students are going to have input, the parents are going to have input, and there's going to be some communications with the board on that, because the board actually does technically oversee and has the authority of graduations. So our board trustees, led by President Barry, and the entire board is going to weigh in on that as well, but all the feedback they get from the community. So again, I know it's disappointing, it's not the normal, but again, this group is going to be a group that we're going to remember. And so I have asked the advisory council for 2 weeks, and I asked them feedback and to come back to me with some ideas as to what they would like to see from the students. What would they like to see? And on my council, I have students from all the high schools and special programs. So again, I'll give them a lot of credit, and so I'll tell the students, go ahead and reach out to colleagues, but we're willing to listen, and we want to recognize you because we're proud of all our students in Dearborn Public Schools.
Based on the executive order that has been done and the decision by the Michigan Department of Education, I want to go into more details. So I know in terms of ceremony, you guys haven't decided yet. You're open to ideas. You're looking probably to either delay it, to do it virtually. So that's in terms of ceremony itself. But in terms of the graduating from high school, I mean, especially for seniors right now, So they're going to be able to graduate. You guys are not asking them to do the required. How about the SAT test? Because we have a question from Michelle. She's saying, is it correct that if a senior hasn't taken the SATs, they will not be penalized?
That's correct. I just was confirming that because I saw that question. Sorry.
Can
so
I add on the
they will not be
graduation there,
penalized.
because you're saying. Sorry,
You could go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Because of the delay. Let me just add on the graduation and then go to Maysam. So the graduation, one thing I want to say is everybody is not 100% guaranteed, because now under the new governor's order, we are going to have some requirements in there. So we cannot hold people back because of the current crisis, but there will be some requirements for the work they need to complete, both for graduation and for for grading and other things. And the governor has clearly given the districts the authority to do that. Now, go ahead, Maysam.
Very good.
Glenn, I was going to speak to the SAT. The question was, is it correct that if a senior hasn't taken the SAT that they will not be penalized? And that response is accurate. Is that if they haven't taken the SAT, that the governor's orders say that they will not be penalized. The current juniors will take it in the fall at the expense of the state without a penalty.
So for seniors, it's fine. They're going to be able to graduate without, even if they haven't taken the SAT. That's for seniors only. However, for juniors, you guys are going to be given the SAT test for juniors in the fall of the next school year. And parents don't have to pay for it. You guys are going to be able to pay for it, right?
The state will be paying for it, and that's fall of 2020. Okay. And then the requirement for seniors to have the SAT is a Dearborn administrative guideline that we will approve for them to graduate without the SAT if they haven't already taken it at this time.
Very important point, because we've received so many questions about that. So that's only for seniors. Anyone that's watching us now, it's only for seniors. If you are a junior or if you have a junior, they still gonna take the SAT in fall of 2020. And it's going to be funded by the state, so you don't have to pay for it. And the same goes for 10th grade and 9th grade, because they take the pre-SAT, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the PSAT, the PSAT, we use it more as an internal test, and it also predicts a little bit of what they're going to do on the SAT, so we really use it to drive some of the instruction. And those are some things we're going to work out as well.
Very good, very good. That's a very important point. So let me talk about, Glenn, or do you guys want to add anything about the graduation? Because I want to talk about the part of moving students from one grade level to another grade level. Anything in regards?
Just I want to mention on the SAT, we also, as a P12, those that are graduating, the county superintendents, we're going to work with the universities, because hopefully that timeline comes sooner in the fall rather than later, because of the application students that are required to submit for college admission going into November. So again, we're going to work as well with getting word out through the Michigan Department of Education to try to work on those timelines, even though the date has not been decided.
Very good. Anything from Mike or Maysam in regards to that? SAT, seniors, graduation? We're good. Let's talk about, the other grades from pre-K to 11th. I know the executive order also mentioned that students will be able to basically move to the next grade level. And even the governor has waived the third grade law. So I want to talk about the third grade law a bit, and then we can talk about moving to the next grade level, if you guys don't mind. So how this is going to happen for Dearborn Public Schools?
All right, I'll go ahead, I guess, and then Mike, you can jump in if needed, or Maysam. Yeah, it's just we're waiving those provisions. So as far as grade, jumping from grade, if students are on track to graduate, or not to graduate, but to advance to the next grade, along with completing the work that we're going to require in the next couple of months, then they would advance. We would not harm them because of access issues to the work. And again, Mike has mentioned, Mr. Esseilly's mentioned about, mailing packets and other things. So we're still working on that plan, but we have to provide equal access. And once we do that, there would be a requirement, but we definitely, we do not have a lot of retention anyway. We don't necessarily believe in retention per se. So we know the research on that. And we're not really in favor of that portion of the third grade reading law. We like the third grade reading law. It's a positive law as far as providing support to students. The difficulty we're under right now is going to be the fact that we don't have high level literacy coaching lunches and math students. This is going to be a difficult situation because we know the summer learning loss for students. And just think of an extended summer learning loss that is now from March to August, especially when you look at students that are at risk, or, we talk about special education that Mike will speak. So that's going to be a concern of ours, that, we're going to have to do things to get students back up to speed. And that's why it is so important that students can not just stop doing things, making sure they're reading every day. I think it's just critical that students stay engaged and focused. And so I just think it's fair that all those provisions are waived as far as the third grade reading, all the testing requirements for 1 year. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, and we're going to make sure, our plan is, we're not here to be punitive, and we don't want a punitive plan. We want a supportive plan. We want to ensure we're meeting families and students where they're at. And we're also going to be very, reasonable and flexible. And we're also going to understand that every situation's different. Every student's going to be different. And hopefully within some of our plans, you're going to see some of that language as to how we're hopefully going to individualize things. I mean, we're going to do that for sure for special education students, but for all students as well. And, no student is going to be penalized, just like Dr. Maleyko said, if there's accessibility issues or anything along those lines. Our goal is to be as supportive as possible and just to continue the learning through this extended shutdown.
Very good. Very good. Maysam, do you want to add anything to that point?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Let me take one quick comment about how can we find out if we got into young fives? She said all paperwork have been turned on. Lisa.
I can respond to that. I also wanted to, somebody messaged me from our district asking me just to let everyone know that our GSRP program, which is part of our preschool program, will be sending out information about registration as soon as possible. They know that people are waiting for that information and they're working on it. For how do we find out if we got into young fives, please call 313-827-3068, and you can leave a message with the person that answers, and they'll direct that to our student services office.
I've posted some phone numbers, and thank you, Dr. Maleyko, for sharing this with me. So basically, for any general information, the phone number is 313-827-3006. The phone number that Maysam mentioned right now is 313-827-3068. For special education, it's 313-827-7050. I'll leave it a bit there so people can take and write down those phone numbers, because you guys are still open to the public despite the shutdown. So people can still, call, email, and they'll find the response from you guys. So just to wrap up the idea of moving from one grade level to another grade level, it's going to happen. However, based on the plan that you guys have submitted, it's going to be some work that's going to be required for the students. Is this a good closure to that topic? Summer?
Yes.
Very good. Maysam, I want to talk about the staff. We've been talking about students and stuff, but I mean, we got to give a big shout out to our teachers and principals and administrative staff for Dearborn Public Schools and all the schools that have been working during this harsh times. I know part of if you can talk about the part that relates to the staff, and I know that's your area right there. Are they still going to get paid? If so, how? And everything that's related to the staff, if you don't mind clarifying some stuff.
Absolutely. As I said earlier, just a huge thank you to all of our staff, and as thankful as we are for having the staff that we do, and they are working, and we're seeing evidence of it every single day. Non-instructional and our instructional staff. And so I want to start by giving much thanks to them, to all of our staff. What I'd like to add is that based on the governor's executive order yesterday, all staff will continue to get paid their full salary and their benefits. We are in contact with the human resource directors, and as Dr. Maleyko is in contact with all the superintendents throughout the Tri-County area, and specifically his group within the Wayne County Superintendents Association, and myself and our other directors in human resources are in contact. This morning we had a meeting with human resources from throughout the Wayne County area. I am proud to say that our district, initially when we first had the governor's order to shut down, she specified, that teachers should be paid. I am very proud to say that we took some good faith measures to ensure that our non-instructional staff that continue to report physically after the shutdown as essential workers for food service and for custodians and for engineers were compensated appropriately. We continue to work very closely with our union leadership, and I can only be so thankful that we have union leadership and unions that are willing to work with us, and we have a very positive rapport and relationship, and these are the times when those relationships really matter the most. We were on, not just myself and our team have been collaborating with union leadership all along. They are part of our crisis committee that Dr. Maleyko referenced earlier, and so we are extremely transparent because we believe that, you know, our staff deserves the best, and as well as much good as we can provide for our staff, then they'll be able to do so for our students as well, and for their families. To take it a step further, while we do have the budget in place, I work very closely with Mr. Tom Wall, our Executive Director of Business Services, and so we do have the budget in place for the current year through the current contract year in June. But how what's happening right now will impact our budget next year is still unknown. Okay. And so we are cautiously proceeding and following the executive orders that were given. But we are cautiously watching our budget, as we do not know how this will impact our staffing next year. We do not know what our per pupil funding will be for next year. And it's really essential that we are constantly keeping an eye on that, because we don't even know about our summer programs yet. We'd like to offer summer programs. We don't know the state of the nation at that time.
We'll add to that, but since you talked about it, I know we'll talk about summer programs in a bit. But what do you want to add in terms of? I mean, I know so teachers will keep getting paid normally,
and non-instructional staff, all permanent staff will continue to get paid. We have had a flood of unemployment requests from substitutes and other, which we always handle unemployment requests. That's not anything unusual, but it has skyrocketed, of course. Yeah. But they are continuing to get paid, and all of our permanent staff. And in the cases where we have teachers on long-term leaves, we do have a long-term substitute also that we're paying to provide the remote learning in alignment with the building.
Very good, very good. Do you guys want to add anything to whatever Maysam mentioned? I know she's the expert on that point.
Sure, she is. She's doing a great job. We got a great team here, and I feel fortunate to have a great executive cabinet that, you know, especially over the last few months, we've been like family. We were physically together so much in the building when we had meetings like every hour. Now we can't be physically. We are on these virtual things every day. I've already seen them multiple times today, so we're getting used to that. And I get to see their families sometimes in the background, like Mason's little ones coming through that door in the back there. I know they love the vision sign, so we always have that for them as well. But yeah, our staff does a great job. Again, I've already mentioned the teachers, our entire staff. They've been, you know, again, is it perfect? Our people are going above and beyond, whether it's food distribution, whether it's helping someone, whether it was, I don't know if you're aware that we donated multiple goggles and gloves, and Ms. Peterson headed this up with Representative Hamoud, you know, I believe thousands to the frontline medical workers. So, you know, our hearts and our prayers go out to those medical workers and first responders that are doing great. And then, so now what we do? We can continue with the food distribution. We can continue to provide online learning. We can continue to reach out to our students, because it is a challenging time, and all the staff really has been stepping up, and we do appreciate that relationship with the union. Just good people coming together, trying to help everyone out and do what's right. And again, you know, I will say, unfortunately, you know, what's going to happen, which I see, is that more people know someone that's coming down with a positive test result on the COVID-19. And so I think HR has done a great job with Maysam and Tom and the budget, you know, that aspect, working with the unions to come up with that hotline to support staff that are going through, you know, issues in the homes. And so that is going to happen. As you are all seeing, you know, our prayers go out to Isaac Robinson passing away. You know, there's so many I could mention. I'm a Rotarian with Dr. Hamoud, we just found out today. You know, good people in the community. And so I know someone personally that's a friend of my wife that, you know, a positive test. So these are things that are going to continue. And so we got to continue to support each other and we will continue to do that. And so our staff is stepping up. They have. And just so you know, the union heads, I've included them, and our team knows this. We have crisis meetings twice a week. So here are some of the meetings. I have once a week meeting with all the principals. I have twice a week meetings with the crisis team. I'm meeting with union heads. I have at least 3 times a meeting with small group with Board of Education if needed. I'm now meeting with students. On top of that, I meet with Wayne County RESA weekly. I'm also on that, which Hussein, you know this, MASA came out with some of those recommendations. Well, I'm actually one of the board members, one of the 7 board members. And so I'll be hiring the new MASA. And MASAs are superintendent started to last year to represent. So I get a lot of inside information quickly. And that group does advocate for students in Lansing. A lot of the information that we knew was coming out of that. I have a very close relationship as well with Dr. Rice, the state superintendent. And so our staff is really stepping up, our entire team, and we're just going to do what's right. I will say this, though. I also need our staff in our community to help out. And how can they help? Stay off the playgrounds. Stay off the equipment. Don't come together in a group. We were still getting reports of that. And so, you know, the health workers are doing their part. The food service workers are doing their part. Teachers are going to do their part. We got a lot of unknowns still ahead of us. We got a tough battle coming. It's life and death right now. And the one thing we need to do, and that's why I appreciate this from home, because we have to be role models as well. And so our Board of Education meeting, Hussein, on the 13th, guess what? It's going to be virtual. All the board trustees will be broadcasting from home. We've already put that out. We will only have a couple of staff from the IT in the building physically, and we've sent out that information. So that's what we can do. That's our part, because right now that's within our control. And so if we are home and we're not getting out there and spreading the virus, then we're not bogging down the medical professions, and then we can continue to provide the support to our students with online learning and other methods. So I just want to emphasize that. The other thing I do want to caution parents, I'm kind of jumping here, is be careful too of social media and online. So I'm going to do a little show on that, but we've got to be careful with what kids are doing online, because there's a lot of areas that they may go where them or other individuals may get them into trouble. And so we got to be careful. We don't want online bullying. We don't want them engaging, or we don't want others reaching out. So that was another caution I have to parents, is to make sure you're kind of monitoring what your children are doing. That's very important. I put that out many times, just as I would monitor my children. And some of those things like, you know, Snapchat and things that you can't monitor, you know, you got to be careful of that, because some of that is going on. So again, you know, we're going to be here for the community. We always have been, and we appreciate the community. You mentioned the Ed Foundation, everyone, the PTA, everyone's coming together.
I just want to comment a thank you also to the Board of Education and President Barry. They've been extremely supportive. They are always supportive, and especially during this time. So just another thank you to our Board of Education. Additionally, I wanted to say that, you know, Dr. Maleyko already said it, but I just want to emphasize that we are continuously looking to improve. We are never accepting status quo, and we welcome feedback, and we encourage conversations for improvement. We will always do our best to raise our standards and maintain high expectations. We are a large district of 21,000 plus students and 2,700 plus staff, and we work as collaboratively as possible, and we are always open to feedback and considering all the different perspectives that we often hear, and we appreciate that.
Thank you, Maysam. For anybody that's asking for us to translate, I'm gonna be doing like a summary of what we talked about at the end in Arabic. Just a very short, very quick summary about some of the points in Arabic. The district is, and Dr. Maleyko on his blog and on the district page, they have been releasing a press release in both Arabic and English, if I'm mistaken, Dr. Maleyko, right?
Yes, yeah, you can go on my blog. The letter I put out yesterday is on my blog in Arabic as well. And we send it to all the buildings to send it out in Arabic. Very good, very good.
And I want to just ask parents, please don't take your information from a Facebook post or from, you know, your neighbor or from whatever. If you have something you're confused about, or not even your kid, because sometimes your kids, they don't want to do their homework or they don't want to do something, so they'll tell you something that's not right. So please, every time, check with the principal, check with the school, check on everyone is on social media right now. You can go to the district page at Dearborn Public Schools on Facebook, on Twitter. on Instagram. Dr. Maleyko is on Instagram. You can call the school and ask about what's going on. And they have people who speak Arabic and English and Spanish, if I'm not mistaken. So please, get to the source and don't take your information just from a social media post or from a sahriya or subhiya. So just very important point. I want to, kind of wrap it up. We almost talked about and everything. And if I missed something, please correct me if there is something that we didn't cover, so we can cover it. The last two things I want to mention is basically the social services. You guys are still providing social services, yes or no? And if so, how?
Absolutely. And then when you're talking about social services, I'm assuming you're receiving to school social work and mental health things, or is there anything else? Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of things going on. One, and that's kind of a shout out I want to give out right now. And Dr. Maleyko, I think, mentioned, and so did Miss Alie-Bazzi, of how the entire staff really came together. 24 or 48 hours after the shutdown was announced, we had a group of psychologists and social workers who immediately emailed myself and Dr. Maleyko and the rest of the executive cabinet and spoke about the mental health issues that may happen because of this isolation and how it can impact our students. Not only our students have had some, mental health concerns, but also our students, maybe because of the shutdown, that this can happen to as well. So what we did after that was we actually took the recommendation and talking about what great leadership we have, and we created a social emotional hotline. And that phone number is actually provided. You just listed it earlier, and please, we want families to use that hotline. If any of the students or whatever, for whatever situation, are going through whatever issue it is, please reach out. We have mental health experts that include our school social workers, our psychologists, and our counselors who are available to support. In addition to that, our school social workers have done a tremendous job. They're continuing to reach out to their families. They know the families that are going to need most of our supports. I know they're making an attempt to reach out one time, sometimes 2 times a week. I'm getting emails all the time, frequently, from our social workers, saying, hey, this family needs this type of support, or they need, specific food delivered, or whatever the situation may be. And, we're working closely with PTA, the Ed Foundation, and all these organizations who have provided great services. But really, it's our social workers who are really recommending a lot of these families and supporting the community in that route.
Very good. I know Maysam, she mentioned the summer programs very shortly. What do you guys want to say about the summer programs? Are they going to happen, or there's no decisions yet? Summer programs.
I can say that middle school will have an online summer program. Typically in the past it was blended, so it was partially face-to-face in classroom instruction, and part of it was online. It was a combination. We still have plans to move forward with summer programs pending the current situation. So can we 100% commit at this point? Not really. But as always, our district has a variety of summer programs. I mean, you could keep your kids going to school all summer in our district. I do. but we definitely are looking at that, but it's all going to be pending what happens with the situation. And if we're not going to have face-to-face, if we're not able to have face-to-face, we will have online continuing in some form.
Very good. As we come to an end of this, and I'm going to translate in Arabic. راح احكي بالعربي بعد شوي. بدي ارجع ترجم تقريبا مثل سامري، مثل خلاصه للي حكيناه. ميسم ومايك بيحكوا عربي، يعني اذا انا نسيت شيء كمان بيصلحوا لي. عشان هيك رح يضلوا معي. Dr. Maleyko, I'm just telling them in Arabic that I'm going to translate in Arabic just so we can stay on the same page.
If I tried speaking Arabic, I would just kill your rating. So you do not want me, but I do understand you.
As long as
I'll just keep nodding. I'll just keep nodding.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to fact check too then, Hussein.
Yeah.
Mike's got my back on this one. He's gonna report to me after, right? Mike, call me after. I'm just kidding.
Did we miss anything? Is there anything else that you guys, before I translate to Arabic, is there anything else that I didn't mention that you guys want the community to know, that you guys want your staff to know, or you want the students and the teachers to know? Please, I'm going to give each one of you like a minute, and then I'll translate in Arabic. We'll start with Maysam.
Okay. just continue. I just want to send out well wishes and continued prayers for good health and safety. And as a working mom, and there's some beautiful things that come with being home all day with your children, and there's some challenges when you're trying to work as well. Don't be so hard on yourself. Embrace as many positive moments as you can. Enjoy the little things, the small things, and on behalf of Dearborn Schools, please reach out to us with your feedback and with your with the needs that you'd like us to look at. We are here for the community. The community is Dearborn Schools. Thank you.
Mike?
I would like to echo some of that as well. And actually, I start all of my meetings with our special education staff saying the most important thing right now is safety. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and everything else will work through together. We're here to support you. I know this is a very, very challenging situation. It's not an ideal situation for any of us, but as long as we continue to stick together and work together, I'm positive we're going to get through anything.
Dr. Maleyko?
Yeah, so I appreciate the comments that have already been made, and we miss our students. I miss not being able to make my 400 visits this year. I did meet. I was on pace to actually surpass my normal average until the shutdown, but I had 300, and so miss having the students and miss being able to get the Instagram photos and just the positive with our staff and our community and all those things. But we're making some sacrifices right now. The short-term sacrifices is for the greater good of the community, and we know we have tougher times ahead, to be honest. So there's a big picture at play right now, and again, we're going to do our part as to stay inside and stay home as much as we can and to support the community. So again, I feel blessed. I appreciate the leadership as mentioned. I know Maysam did, and I have the Board of Education, President Barry, all the board trustees, President Trustee Thorpe, Petlichkoff, Lane, Mead, Trustee Mosif, Trustee McDonald, all of them, for all their great support during this. And then also, I'll just say to President Cavalluna over on the other side, we have a great partnership with Henry Ford College, and we work together. In fact, he's sending me messages right now, and him and I on weekends. So just very blessed that we have this kind of community and that we're going to stick together. And I know we will get through it. So stay positive, stay optimistic, and then just take some normalcy time with your families in your homes. Try to get a normal routine going. Try to get your work going for the students. Get some exercise in, and try to have a little bit of fun with your families as well. I know it's tough. Nice, good thing is the weather is getting better, so we can get some exercise out there as well. So I'm going to try to keep that normalcy as I take care of my own family. And so I would just tell people, protect your families and your loved ones. Thoughts and prayers go to those who are illness directly and or any other secondary condition that may be occurring right now.
Very good, very good. Now is the Arabic time. Very quickly, I'm not going to take a lot of time. I'm just going to summarize whatever we said.
Oh, and I think, did I say Trustee Lane? I said Trustee Lane.
You did.
I want to make sure I said Trustee Lane. I think I did, but did I, Maysam? Make sure I said, okay, good. I want to make sure I got all 7 of them.
Yeah.
Just to make sure, shout out to all Dearborn Public School trustees, just so we make sure we don't miss anyone. And we thank them for their service and for their
all trustees. Like I said them, but just making sure.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. In terms of Arabic, Maysam and Mike, help me if I forget something. Mike, they want to hear you speak Arabic. They're like, بدي اسمع ميسم عم تحكي عربي. I'm going to start talking in Arabic for just briefly, Dr. Maleyko. رح احكي بالعربي شوي اللي حكيناه لانه معلومات كثير مهمه انحكت اليوم من ضيوفنا. معنا المشرف العام تبع مدارس ديربورن دكتور ماليكو، الاستاذ ميسم علي-بزي، والاستاذ مايك عسيلي، اثنيناتهم من الكابينت اللي بيديروا مدارس ديربورن بالقياده تبع مدارس ديربورن. حكينا نحن عن اكثر من نقطه تتعلق بمدارس ديربورن، تتعلق باغلاق المدارس. اول شيء كنا عم نحكي عن توزيع الاكل، قالوا انه هودي الاكل عم بيوزعون اول ما سكروا المدارس، ضلوا يوزعوا الاكل للاشخاص اللي كانوا على الفري او ريديوست ميل اللي بيطلعوا لهم من الستيت. بس حتى حيلا واحد بيروح وبياخذ اكل فري، مش هيدا يعني مش ضروري يكون ديربورن بابليك سكول ستودنت لحتى تلميذ بديربورن بابليك سكول لحتى يطلع له هودي الميلز. مزبوط ميسم ومايك؟ ماشي.
right on track.
مظبوط. بالنسبه للكروم بوك اللي هن الكمبيوتر، شو معنى كمبيوتر بالعربي؟ الله لا يوفق حدا. نحن بنقول كمبيوتر يعني اللابتوب، الحاسوب بالنسبه
I'll let Maysam translate that one.
I don't know that one.
بالنسبه للحاسوب هن وزعوا تقريبا 3000 حاسوب للولاد اللي بدهم هن للطلاب تبعهم. رح يصير في توزيع قريبا، رح يعلنوا عنه. فالطلاب اللي ما قدروا ياخذوا حاسوب اللي هو اللابتوب او مثل بسموه كروم بوك، قريبا رح يعلنوا عن امتى رح يعملوا توزيع مره ثانيه. بالنسبه للريموت ليرنينج او التعلم عن بعد، هيدا الموضوع هن اول مره طلع القرار تبع الستي ات هوم، اللي وقت ما امرت حاكمه الولايه انه الاهل والعالم كلها تضل ببيوتها. كان اول شيء انريتشمنت معناته انه بس لتدعيم وتثقيف الاولاد. بس حاليا هلا بعد القرار اللي طلع امبارح من الجفرنر، كل مدرسه او كل مدارس طلبت منهم الحاكمه انه يعملوا خطه تعليميه لتعليم الطلاب عن بعد. فديربورن بابليك سكول، مدارس ديربورن اوريدي عملوا هيدي الخطه، رح يقدموها لوين ريسا، اللي هي يعني مثل ما بتعرفوا انتم ديربورن عندهم وين، نحن بمقاطعه وين. وبس يوافقوا عليها لهيدي الخطه من مقاطعه وين ببلشوا تطبيقها. اكيد عم يطلبوا من الطلاب ومن الاهالي انه يستمروا في اذا عم يوصل لهم دروس مدرسيه او عم بيوصل لهم شغلات من المعلمات او من المدرسه انه يعملوها. كثير مهم انه يعملوا هيدي الشغلات، مش انه يتركوها وما يعملوها ويفكروا انه عندهم عطله، لانه هيدا الموضوع كثير مهم. لانه الطلاب اذا ما بيعملوا هيدي الشغلات رح يتاخر مستواهم ورح يتراجع مستواهم، لانه الطلاب الثانيين عم يعملوهم، اذا هن ما عملوهم رح يبعدوا كثير عن المستوى تبع الطلاب اللي بصفهم. فكتير مهم رسالتهم للاهالي ولكل واحد عم يسمعهم انه يعملوا الشغلات اللي عم يبعثوا لهم اياهم الاساتذه. وقالوا انه ضمن الخطه الجديده هيدي الدروس المدرسيه رح تكون على جريدد، يعني حيكون عليها نقط ورح يكون عليها، رح تكون محسوبه للطلاب ضمن النقاط. مزبوط عم بحكي؟
Yeah, Hussein, we're still working on some of those aspects to see how that'll look.
بعد الخطه عم يعملوها اكيد مثل ما قلت انا، يعني الخميس الجاي هذه الخطه رح تنبعث لوين ريسا، بس يتم الموافقه عليها. الديربورن بابليك سكول، مدارس ديربورن رح يطلعوا بابليكلي، رح على العلن، ورح يشرحوا للعالم شو هي الخطه وكيف رح يكون الدروس وكيف رح يبعثوها. هيدي بالنسبه للتعليم عن بعد. بالنسبه للتخرج، الجرادويشن سيرموني، بعضهم عم بيفكروا باكثر من شغله، يعني او انه ياخروا الجرادويشن اللي هي حفله التخرج، ياخروها لحتى يخلص هيدا الموضوع، او انه تنعمل اونلاين، او عم بيحكوا مع الطلاب وعم بيحكوا مع الاهالي لحتى يصير عندهم اكثر من فكره كيف بدهم يعملوا حفله التخرج للطلاب، خصوصا الطلاب اللي بصف ال 12، الطلاب اللي بتخرجوا من الثانويه بصف ال 12 ال 12 جريد، السينيورز بنقول لهم نحن. بالنسبه ل موفينج كيدز، من يعني الطلاب اللي هن let's say بصف الثاني او بصف الثالث او الرابع، تلقائيا هودي الطلاب حسب الخطه اللي هن عم بيحطوها حاليا، تلقائيا هودي الطلاب رح يطلعوا على الصف اللي بعده. يعني اذا انت ابنك او بنتك بالصف الرابع رح يطلعوا على الصف الخامس. وفي كان عندنا قانون بميشيغان كان راح يطبق اول سنه اسمه الثيرد جريد لا. هيدا قانون للطلاب اللي بالصف الثالث، انه لازم هن يكون عندهم مستوى معين من القراءه ومستوى معين من القراءه بس هو الريدنج. فهيدا الجفرنر عملت له ويفر، يعني شارته لهيدا السنه، مش رح يطبقوه، رح يطبقوه سنه الجاي لهيدا القانون. فهيدا بالنسبه للثيرد جريد لو. بس اكيد كمان برجع نذكركم انه كثير مهم ينعمل هيدا الشغل اللي عم بيعطوا لكم اياه الاساتذه للطلاب. بالنسبه للامتحان الاس اي تي، امتحان الاس اي تي للسينيورز، للهودي اللي بالصف 12، اذا هن منهم اخذينه ما رح يعاقبون على هيدا الموضوع، رح فيهم يتخرجوا بدون ما ياخذوا الاس اي تي، اللي هو الامتحان للطلاب اللي هن بصف ال 11 وال 12. بصف ال 12 بس مش رح يتعاقبوا، بس بصف ال 11 لازم ياخذوا الامتحان، بس رح يعطوهم اياه الامتحان بخريف سنه 2020 which is هيدا اول سمستر، اول ما يفوتوا الطلاب على المدارس بفال 2020 خريف 2020 رح ينعطى الاس اي تي للطلاب، ورح يكون مجانا هيدا، لانه الستيت الولايه هي رح تدفع لهيدا الامتحان. نسيت اي نقطه انا بالنسبه للهاي سكول؟ ميسم ومايك ام جود.
No, I think you got it.
I think you got everything.
بالنسبه للطلاب مع الاحتياجات الخاصه، مايك هون بدي اياك تساعدني شوي بهذا الموضوع. بالنسبه للطلاب
تفضل.
هودي انا ما فهمتش كثير. هودي الطلاب كيف بدكم تتواصلوا معهم؟ كيف عم تتواصلوا معهم؟ عم تتواصلوا مع اهلهم؟
مع اهلهم، مع الطلاب اوقات كمان حسب على الطلاب. كل طلاب غير. في طلاب انه عم نحكي مع اهلهم وكيف فينا نساعدهم بالبات، وفي طلاب عم نحكي معهم نحن هن كمان. وكمان عندنا معلمات كمان انه شو عم يعملوا، عم يروحوا على الفيديو ومع الاهالي ومع الطلاب عم يشتغلوا كمان. وهذا كله كمان نحن بدنا بس نخلص مع البلان ان شاء الله. بدنا نعرف اكيد كيف بدنا نعمل، بنضل نعمل جاي ورايح.
اذا الله هي مايك شو العربي يا مايك هذا؟
ثانك يو.
اكيد هيدا بالنسبه للطلاب السبيشال اد كيدز اللي عندهم احتياجات خاصه او سبيشال اد بروجرام اللي هو مايك هو المسؤول عنه لهيدا البروجرام. المدرسه اكيد مسكره كمدارس مسكرين، بس بعدهم مفتوحين اذا بدكم تدقوا لهم. يعني بعدكم فيكم تتواصلوا معهم على ارقام التليفونات، ونحن حطينا ارقام تليفونات. فيكم تتواصلوا مع الاساتذه، فيكم تتواصلوا مع اذا عندكم بدكم mental health support، يعني صحيا الصحه العقليه. اذا حدا بده مساعده او شيء، في عندهم هوت لاين بهذا الموضوع. بدي احاول ارجع احط رقم التليفون اذا بلاقيه.
It's 313-827-3005.
اكيد رح فيني الاقيه انا لانه على طول لقينا. فرقم التليفون، هودي ارقام التليفونات موجودين قدامكم، لانه ديربورن بابليك سكول بعدهم فاتحين لاستقبال تليفوناتكم، سؤالاتكم. اذا حيلا واحد عنده حيلا سؤال فيهم يساعدوكم بهيدا الموضوع. عن شو حكينا نحن كمان؟ حكينا عن what did I miss؟ والله I covered everything.
I think Hussein, you did a nice job. I think you got everything for the most part.
Okay. Maysam, حكي شيء in عربي.
I was going to agree. I'm going to agree. You did a great job. You used a B.
Thank you.
Mike was texting me saying we're good, right?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, that was impressive. Thank you, Hussein.
Maysam, if you wanna, because they keep telling me somebody with private message to me, like we wanna hear Maysam in Arabic. Say something.
I'll never hear the end of it. My husband's gonna make fun of me forever.
No, come on. Mike did good.
I'm trying to think of something.
Salam alaikum.
I love it.
I used to take Arabic lessons once a week when I was at in Salina, but I lost a little bit, so I needed certain phrases in that. I was much better when I was working at Salina.
Sure. Rabab is asking about parents who don't speak English at all. How would they follow with their kids' school work? I think that's an important question, to be honest with you.
Right. So we're actually, from our perspective within, special education and the entire district as well, is, that's part of the equity piece and how we're trying to figure some things out. We do have translators within the district. We have staff that can translate documents. We also have a lot of staff that can speak the language. So those are some things we're going to implement and kind of look at as well as we move forward with full remote learning.
Very good, very good.
But and they can always, please, always contact your building principal, if you do need, any of those services or whatnot. But our teachers do such a fine job, and they really, really do. They know their families really well. So typically with situations like that, they'll know and they'll request some type of translation service.
Monique is asking, will there be a earlier start day for the new school year? Do we know or we don't know?
So I can comment on that. We don't know, but right now we have an earlier start date with that waiver in August. So that we had that. Actually, Miss Alie-Bazzi was the one who led that application a couple of years ago. So we already do start in August compared to other districts that start after Labor Day. At this point, we can't say that's going to happen, but we're already kind of in good shape because of the fact that we start prior to Labor Day. Whether or not that will be extended, that more discussion if we needed to do that. At this point in time, we are not required to per the governor's order.
Somebody is asking where we can get computers. We mentioned that during the show. Distribution will happen soon. The district will have an announcement on that, and we'll share the announcement on WhatsApp Media Network. For anyone that joined us right now, we discussed a lot of points. The show will be available on our Facebook page, WhatsApp Media Network, الأخبار Web TV. It's available on our YouTube channel already, and it's also available on our website, www.whatsappmedianetwork.com. And I know the district also shared the stream, so you can watch the whole interview, everything that we spoke about. You can basically forward, backward, so you can hear whatever you want to talk, whatever you want to know about. Again, thank you, Maysam. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Glenn. Anything you guys want to mention before we close? 10 seconds for each one of you guys before we close.
Just want to say thank you to you, Hussein. You've always been so supportive of our district and of our students and of our community. And can't thank you enough. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Hussein. This is a great thing you do for our community, a great way to pump out the information. So we appreciate everything that you're doing for us.
And I'll echo those thoughts. Appreciate that, Hussein. I'll also just kind of thank the public again and let the public know that if they want the direct information, go to our official sites, go to my blog, register for my blog. I also have a show that I do daily, or not daily, but twice a week now. So we're giving updates constantly on this current COVID-19 response. So I think you said it earlier, Hussein, go to media sources that you trust and just be careful about what the latest, quickest post is out there, because a lot of misinformation. So if they really want to know what the school district's doing, go to the official school district site, go to my blog, go to my Twitter, my Facebook, Instagram is another one, but don't go based on rumors. And I think you said that earlier, so I appreciate that as well. Very good.
And anyone that's watching, they can see your blog. We put it out there, and that's the website for Dearborn Public Schools, www.dearbornschools.org. All of the information are there. Somebody asked about getting her diploma after graduating from high school, and I think
Shannon responded.
And I put her respond on the screen. So Shannon responded that basically your high school will notify you via email or via mail. That's it for us. I want to thank you, Maysam, for joining me. It's always a pleasure having you and chatting.
Wonderful night. Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you, Mike. Mike, always a pleasure, always talking to you and chatting with you. And you're doing a great job leading the special education department. Thank you for everything that you do there. Dr. Maleyko, thank you for your leadership. I know you love doing those school visits, and you do a lot of those school visits. Students love to see you and love to interact with you. And I know you're trying to keep up with them on social media right now, since you cannot interact with them personally. So thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for your leadership and leading Dearborn Public Schools in those hard times, and for all of the amazing thing that you and your team have been doing. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you soon.
See you. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Have a great weekend.
Good night, Dr. Maleyko. For our viewers, this was it for us. I was joined by Dr. Maleyko, by Maysam Ali, Executive Director of Staff and Student Services, and by Mike Esseily from the Executive Director of the Special Education. We spoke about the stay-at-home order, then the executive order that was issued recently about closing schools for the end of the school year. We spoke about food distribution, Chromebook distribution, remote learning, and the district plan to continue teaching their kids and how they're going to do it. We spoke about the graduation ceremony. We spoke about moving kids from one grade level to another grade level. We spoke about social services, summer programs, balanced calendar. We covered everything that relates to Dearborn Public Schools and that you guys should know about. I really want to thank everyone that joined me, everyone that commented. I want to ask you to share this video so more parents and more students can watch this live stream and get the facts. I know a lot of rumors are spreading on social media, and it's easy to spread. We wanted to do this show so we can get to the facts. So I'm glad I was joined by the expert and by the leadership of Dearborn Public Schools. I thank them for their time. This was a very important show. I learned a lot from them, and I'm sure you guys did too. So please share this video. Please like and follow WhatsApp Media Network on Facebook, on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Always check what we have, because we always have daily shows with experts only, that talk about their field and they give the facts only. So thank you guys again for watching. This was Hussein Hachem for WhatsApp Media Network. Before I close, I want to thank all of our sponsors. I want to thank Alex Dahini from Top Mortgage Company. I want to thank Ali Abdullah from EXP Reality. I want to thank Basha Grill in Dearborn Heights. Attorney Hamid Dakrub, State Planning and Probate Attorney from Dakrub Group, and Happy Home Furniture, and all of the sponsors, all of the hosts, everyone. Thank you. Stay safe. Say a prayer for those who we have lost for coronavirus. Watch your kids. Make sure you stay home. You stay safe. Practice social distancing, but do not do social distancing for interaction. So keep calling, keep checking on your loved ones as much as possible. Through your phones, through FaceTime. We have tools now that we can check on our parents and our loved ones and our friends all the time. So make sure you do not disconnect from them. This is the time that they need you more than ever. So please make sure you do that. Again, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for our sponsors. Thank you for our guests. Thank you for all of the hosts that works with WhatsApp Media Network, for the work they've been doing and for working with us through these times to do those shows remotely. Thank you again, everyone. This was Hussein Hashim for WhatsApp Media Network. Until I see you again, good night and stay safe.
Come on.